Welcome to another edition of MIW, or good afternoon if you're watching this on YouTube, but if you're watching it on Instagram, good morning. Okay, I have to read out of the book by Neville Goddard. What is it? I forgot. Imagination. The Secret of Imagining. But before I get started on that, I want to share something with you today that hopefully will lift you up and make you feel a little better, a little safer, not as afraid. Okay? Now, there are certain things I can talk about and certain things I can't talk about on YouTube. Not sure about Instagram. But here it is. I posted this on Facebook on my story and on Instagram on my story. Okay, here we go. Reality check. Total deaths in the USA 2019, all causes 2.84 million. Okay, total deaths USA, all causes to date October 2020, 2.39 million. So according to the statistics by CDC, we still can go another 450,000 this year, and we will have the same death rate as last year. And as I look back over the years, statistically, the death rate rises every year or every couple years because the population increases. So think about that. Anyway, those are the facts. Now let's move on to Neville Goddard, The Secret of an Imagining. I will go back to my Kindle Cloud Reader. Let me see. Okay. Smash that like button, subscribe, notification bell. We got a video coming out every day. And my intention is to help you to have a better life, to enjoy your life, to have that fulfillment that we look for in other things and other people. It all lies within you. And when you got it in there, you don't need anything else. I'm telling you. Here we go. Tonight's subject is the secret of imagining images in your mind. In almost every particular situation is the world about as different from what we think it. Why then should we be so incredulous? Life calls on us to believe not less, but more. The secret of imagining is the greatest of all problems, to the solution of which everyone should aspire. For supreme power, supreme wisdom, supreme delight lie in the solution of this mystery. What did Einstein say? Imagination is more important than knowledge. Because with imagination you can go anywhere and create that which has not yet been created. If you have solved the mystery of imagining, you have found Jesus Christ. This is not a religious program, so don't worry about that. But if you are religious, that's good too. Jesus Christ is defined for us in Scripture as the power of God and the wisdom of God. As we are told in the 8th chapter of the book of Proverbs, and wisdom is now personified as a little child. When he had laid out the foundation of the world, I was beside him like a little child. I was daily his delight, rejoicing before him always, rejoicing in his inhabited world, delighting in the affairs of men. He who finds me, imagination, finds life. He who misses me injures himself. All who hate me love death. So find the child that is the symbol of Jesus Christ, who is the creative power and the wisdom of God. Believe me when I tell you that this Jesus Christ of Scripture is your own wonderful human imagination. This is a completely different way to look at the Bible from what religion teaches. So be open-minded. By him all things were made, and without him was not anything made that was made. He is in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knows him not. Look into the world and name one thing that wasn't first imagined. Yeah, look around you. Everything that you see that was created by man was first imagined in here. Everything that you can create must first be imagined within you. You name one thing that does not now exist in your imagination. Just name it. Name anything in the world that does not now exist in your imagination. All things exist in the human imagination. God is man and exists in us, and we in him. The eternal abode of man is the imagination, and that is God himself. Try to disprove it. You have a creative power within you, your imagination. I know many of us as children, I know I was told, oh, you got too much imagination. Or they almost talked to us like the imagination was something ridiculous or futile or a waste of time. But that is so, how do I say, untrue. Because how can you even say that? Because look at everything that is created. And all great feats were first done within the mind of man, within his imagination. Were it not for man's capability to imagine, he could not create. So where does that creative power begin? It starts in the imagination and leads to action and creation in the manifest real world, in the world you see, in what we call reality. But I tell you, it was reality within someone before it ever became physical existence in your outer world, in your view. Think about that. God is my pure imagining in myself. He underlies all of my faculties, including perception, but he streams into my surface mind, least disguised in the form of productive fancy. I can catch him in the act of producing these images in my mind. Just try it as you are seated here. Try to think of anything. Try to catch him in the act of actually producing in your own mind's eye all these images. For all things exist in the human imagination. But how can I single out one and clothe it so that it becomes an objective fact? That is the secret, for they all exist within me. But how can I catch one and clothe it? Well, I will try to show you tonight what I know from my own personal experience. Scripture teaches it, but it tells it in a strange and wonderful way, how to clothe it. You see this room in which we are now. It's more real now than your own home is to you. Yet you know your home more intimately than you know this room. Yet this room, at the moment, while you are in it, is more real than your own home. How different the cubic reality from the plane of any depiction of it. This room is now so real because we are in it, and we are all imagination. We are in it, and to us it's real. Think of your own home. Do we not have the capacity to draw it, to paint it? But in your mind's eye, you have a plain depiction of it. But it's not as real now as the room is. This room is real because we're in it. When you think about something, everyone can reminisce. When you think about something in the past that was hurtful, or when you think about something in the past that was wonderful. A lot of times we look back on the past with rose-colored glasses, but it really doesn't matter. The point is, when you're looking back at the past, whether it be something that was hurtful or painful, or beautiful and wonderful, you are imagining. When you catch yourself doing that, and that's a joyful thing if you're remembering things that you like and things that made you feel good. Now, if you're remembering things that were hurtful, and painful, then that's more of a resentment, to re-feel that pain, to resent the happening. But when you catch yourself doing that, and we all do it all day long, change that into the future picture that you want to happen. Remember the future as you are remembering the past, because there is no time. Time is a construct of the human mind. We created time. So to your subconscious mind, it doesn't know the difference whether you're remembering something from the past or whether you are remembering something that is to be in the future. But remember it as it has already happened, as it is now. And if you do that over and over with repetition, what you are remembering in the future will become a reality in the present. To the subconscious mind, there is no difference. Your actions, your attitudes will start to change, and you will start to become and take the actions of the person that creates the reality you desire. It is really that simple, but you can't force it. You plant the seed of what you want in your imagination, and then you let it go and live in the present moment. And then the day will come when what you imagine will be the present moment. As I said, there is no past, there is no future, it's all present moment. Right now, you are listening to me in the present moment. If you listen to me tomorrow in this same video, it will be the present moment then. It's always now. I know that's kind of difficult for us to grasp. I'm not sure if I do really understand, but to really grasp that, it's always now. That is all there is now. Okay, now this is what I mean by making something that is only a thought, something that is real. How do I do it? I single out of my own wonderful human imagination that which I want to make real. It's all in you. It all originates out of you. Then I must enter into it as I have entered into this room. If the spectator would enter into any one of these images in his imagination, approaching it on the fiery chariot of his own contemplative thought, from Visions of the Last Judgment by William Blake, reference to a book by Blake, it would become just as real to him as the room is now. You may ask, what would that do to me? Will it become real in the not distant future? I know from my own experience it will. You can sit here and enter into a state. It may not take on quite the reality of this room, but it will if you persist in it. It will become just like this. When you open your eyes, it vanishes. But does it mean that I tasted that and that's all? No, having gone into it, may I tell you, it will follow you. It will not recede into the past as a memory. It will advance into the future, and you will confront it in the present moment, reality. This is the secret of imagining, which is finding out the secret of God. You are an immortal being. You cannot die because you are all imagination. Man is all imagination, and God truly is man. And he exists in us, and we in him. And that immortal body of man is the human imagination, and that is Jesus Christ himself, the eternal body of man, and it cannot die. You cannot die, the body, yes. This will fade, but I am not the garment that I am wearing. This is not me. This is something I put on, a personality. I chose this. I am the wearer of the garment, and the wearer of this garment is all imagination. This is the story the Bible teaches. When we read the Bible, I am he. I kill, I make alive, I wound, and I heal, and there is no God besides me. Who does all that? Man does all that. Man kills, he wounds, he makes alive, he heals. This is not a being outside of you speaking. This is the being that you really are, speaking within you trying to persuade himself of his own wonderful power to create. It can kill, and yet it can make alive. It can resurrect. Women and men create children every day. How many children are born every day? Who created that? Man did, woman did, man and woman did, co-created children. They make alive. Man kills every day, homicides every day, suicides every day. It can kill, and yet it can make alive. It can resurrect from the dead, and that is your own wonderful human imagination. Think about imagination in a different way. Thoreau said, I think it was Thoreau, contempt before investigation keeps a man in everlasting ignorance. So before you think this is all bull, try it. Try it on a consistent basis. Give it a chance. See if it works for you. Is what you're doing now working? Try something different. What's the definition of insanity? To continue to do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. And I've done that too. Till I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. Then I tried something different. So the day will come, you will taste this power that you possess. You will come into a room just like this, and you will sit and you will still it, not by commanding anyone in the room to be still. Leave them just as they are, but you will arrest within yourself an activity that you feel, and as you still it in you, everything that you observe becomes still, perfectly still. I've never experienced that. I don't, that's a little out there for me, but hey, I believe everything's possible. You could go forward and examine them, and they are dead. Everything is perfectly still and dead. The life is in you. You release that activity, and they once more become animated and continue to do what they intended to do. You could, when you still the activity within you, change their motivation. And when you release it, they will do entirely different from what they intended to do to your arrestment within you of that activity. I don't understand that, and I've never experienced that, but I tell you what I have experienced. There have been people in my life that annoyed me, that I felt angry towards, that I didn't like what they did. And when I purposely used my will to look for the good in them and think differently about them, those people changed, or they moved away from where I lived. I mean, that is amazing. I'll give you the quick example of my mother. I love my mother, but man, she just annoyed me because she never would tell me she's proud of me. She never approved. No matter what I did for her, she found something wrong with it. And I never felt like I got the love from her that I wanted. I just felt like I never was good enough. But when the day came that I realized what I saw in her was just a reflection back at me of how I was, and I accepted that she was the way she was, and that she didn't know how to love me like I wanted to be loved, but she loved me in her way, the best she could. She changed. All of a sudden, she started thanking me. She showed her approval. She appreciated me. And it's not only, you would say, well, you probably just believe that, Mark. You said, no, my kids saw it too. It was incredible. The day I realized that she was just reflecting back to me things within me that I didn't like about myself, and I accepted her for who she was and started appreciating the good, she changed. And I've done that with neighbors. I had neighbors here when I moved in that I had disagreements with, and I started looking for the good and saying good things about them to myself instead of focusing on what I didn't like about them, and they all changed. And then the one that I really had trouble with, he called the police on me because I blocked the driveway, which was my property, but they had all gotten used to going through there. We got along good too, and he ended up leaving. So I have no people around me that I don't get along with. Now you think you can move away from that, but everywhere you go, there you are. You cannot get away from anything because you can't get away from yourself. If you have people around you that are mistreating you, you are first mistreating yourself, and they are just messengers reflecting back to you what you are doing to yourself, and only you can change that When you start treating yourself better, these people will disappear or they will change. Well, that's all for today. Hey, smash that like button and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you'd like to get my help personally, Mark's Inspirational Guidance at gmail.com. And I'm trying to get another website up because my last one got compromised, and when I do, I will let you know. Check out my book, Coming Back Home, The True Adventure of Mark Daniels. It's a very inspirational book, exciting and suspenseful. Have a great day. Thanks for joining me.